Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are talking about something so many of us have dealt with, the sky-high cost of prescription drugs. We're going to break down why they can be so expensive and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
So let's start with a feeling I bet you know all too well. That moment of sticker shock at the pharmacy counter. You know, when a medicine you absolutely need suddenly feels like some kind of luxury purchase.
So, why does this happen, and what are your options? Well, in this explainer, we're going to answer that by digging into the system behind the prices, and then it will get into a modern-day toolkit for how to navigate it. Okay, let's dive in.
That high price you see? Well, it's not random. It actually comes from the way insurance plans are designed. They have these specific features that are meant to control costs, but they often work by shifting more of that immediate cost right onto you.
First up, you've got the copayment. This is probably the one you're most familiar with. It's that simple, flat fee you pay for a prescription. You know, 10, 20 bucks. It's predictable, but it's really just the start.
And then there's coinsurance. This is where things can get pricey fast. Instead of a flat fee, you're paying a percentage of the drug's total cost. So if that drug costs hundreds or even thousands of dollars, your 20 or 30% share can be a really big number.
And on top of that, most plans now use something called a tiered formulary. The easiest way to think about it is like a ladder. Generic drugs, they're on the bottom rung, Tier 1, with the lowest copay. Then you've got preferred brand name drugs on Tier 2, and the non-preferred brands are way up on the highest, most expensive tiers.
And this system has absolutely become the standard. I mean, a major 2007 review in the journal JAMA found that by 2005, a whopping 74% of workers were in plans with 3 or more of these tiers. That was a huge jump from just 27% a few years before.
So here's the crucial point. What happens when patients have to pay more out of their own pockets? Let's take a look at the data, because the ripple effects here are, well, they're pretty significant.
That same 2007 review found that for every 10% increase in what a patient pays, the overall use of prescription drugs drops by about 2% to 6%. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but when you spread it across millions of people, it really adds up.
So how does that drop happen? Well, it happens in a few key ways. Some people are less likely to even start a medicine they need. Others might try to stretch a prescription by skipping doses. And some just stop taking their medication altogether when the money runs out.
And this right here illustrates a really dangerous paradox. Yes, higher patient costs do reduce what's spent at the pharmacy. But the research is clear. For people with chronic conditions like diabetes or heart failure, it's linked to more emergency room visits and more hospitalizations. The system might save $1 on pills, but it can end up spending 10 on a hospital stay.
So how in the world are we supposed to deal with this reality? Well, let's fast forward to today, where some new research offers a really practical playbook of solutions. Let's get into it. This comes from research by Dr. Hussein Lalani and his colleagues at Brigham and Women's Hospital, which they published in JAMA. They've outlined 7 key strategies to help doctors and patients manage these costs.
And here's the full list. As you can see, it's a pretty comprehensive toolkit. It covers everything from high-tech tools your doctor can use right in the exam room to programs and websites you can access yourself from home.
Now, this is really interesting because it clarifies 2 things that sound similar but are actually very, very different. On one hand, you have pharmacy coupons, like from GoodRx. Anyone can use these, and you use them instead of your insurance. On the other hand, you have copayment cards. These come straight from the drug companies, and you can only use them with private insurance to lower your costs on pricey brand-name drugs. Okay, so with all these options, how are you supposed to know which one to choose? It can feel a little overwhelming, right? Well, luckily, the researchers created a super simple algorithm to help guide you.
And really, the choice just boils down to 2 simple things. What kind of insurance you have, or if you have none, and whether the medicine is a brand name or a generic. That's it. That's the entire decision tree right there.
Let's walk through an example. Say you need Apixaban. It's a common brand name blood thinner. If you have private insurance, your first stop should be looking for a manufacturer copay card. But, and this is a big but, federal rules say those cards can't be used if you have Medicare. So, if you're on Medicare, you need a different plan, like a patient assistance program. And if that doesn't work out, a reputable international pharmacy is actually a legal last resort.
Okay, now what about a generic, like Tadalafil? The strategy here is completely different. The key is to compare prices. First, see what your insurance copay is, then go check a coupon site. You might be surprised to find you can get it for just 10 or 20 bucks by not using your insurance. And you should also check out direct-to-consumer pharmacies like Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs.
The point is, the cheapest option might not be through your insurance plan at all.
But it is so important to remember what Dr. Lalani, the lead author here, points out. This entire toolkit, it's just a series of workarounds. He calls it a patchwork of strategies that helps people cope, but it doesn't actually fix the underlying problem of why drug prices are so high to begin with.
And that leaves us with a final, really crucial question to think about. The very fact that we need such a complex toolkit just to afford medicine, well, it suggests a system with some major flaws. This is an essential guide for today for sure, but it also makes you wonder, what kind of system should we be building for tomorrow?